Let's talk about TurboTax versus TaxAct. And the question is, which one is really worth your time and resources this year? So here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. So TaxAct and TurboTax actually are two well-known tax programs. And the cool thing is that both offer multiple free and paid plans for taxpayers in varying situations. So they're also backed with guarantees for accuracy and maximum refund. So right off the bat, those are great tax software programs. So with the addition of TaxAct's expert help last year, both companies now offer 4 tiers of online products with the option of one-on-one support from tax experts for an additional fee. So it's one of those things where if you really would need extra help, they're there to help you out, but you have to pay extra. So the key differences are in price and user experience. So when you analyze TaxAct and TurboTax and you really want to choose, it really all boils down to price and user experience. Let me dig a little deeper here. So let me give you the TaxAct pros and cons. The pros first. The software is priced for a tight budget, and you also have reasonably priced expert help. What about the cons? Well, when it comes to TaxAct, you have poor user experience, and we have seen this on and on and on and on. So it's really important to understand that TaxAct is cheaper than TurboTax, and about 20%, 20 to 25%, and you have a simple and easy to use interface. Okay. But the thing is that TaxAct may be more difficult for tax neophytes. So if you are a rookie, you might find TaxAct a little more, I would say, a little more convoluted. What are the pros and cons of TurboTax here? Well, TurboTax, you basically have, when it comes to, you have a guided experience, you have a seamless integration, and you have a free option also. But the big con here, the big drawback, if you will, is that TurboTax is more expensive, okay? And so it's a really more expensive software for tax filing. But if you're willing to actually spend some cash and really get the best user experience, you will love TurboTax because they have guided experience, especially if you are filing taxes for the first time or you do not have experience when it comes to filing taxes. You will love TurboTax, but you still have to pay for it anyway. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. So let's talk about usage here. So when should you use TurboTax versus TaxAct? So when to use TaxAct? Let's talk about that. So if you are a self-employed individual seeking tax software at an affordable price, if you're a small business that needs an easy to use tax filing solution, if you are a small business that deals with investments, those are situations where you will love TaxAct. Let's quickly dig a little deeper here. So if you're a self-employed individual seeking tax software at an affordable price, TaxAct offers special features tailored to self-employed individuals, including freelancers, contractors, and small business owners. It really helps with tracking and recording business income, deductions, and credits, ensuring compliance with tax laws and maximizing deductions for business-related expenses. So compared to TurboTax, TaxAct's pricing is much less expensive. TaxAct is also suitable, in our view, for small businesses that file taxes as sole proprietorships, partnerships, or S corporations. It really assists with business income and expense reporting, depreciation, and other relevant deductions and credits. It also can generate necessary forms such as Schedule C or Forms 1120S. It really is great. If you have investments in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or other investment vehicles, TaxAct can handle the complexities associated with the investment income. It helps users report capital gains and losses, dividends, and interest income accurately. It also provides guidance on tax strategies for investments, such as tax loss harvesting. So this is really cool. Now, when to use TurboTax? TurboTax is great for QuickBooks self-employed users who want a comprehensive tax solution, small businesses that need to import their cryptocurrency transactions, freelancers and self-employed individuals seeking assistance from a tax expert, freelancers seeking free software to file an individual return. So basically, you have to understand TurboTax integrates with QuickBooks Self-Employed. You can then transfer your financial data quickly from QuickBooks to your tax forms. And this feature is unavailable with TaxAct. And TurboTax partners with Coinbase also, a secure online platform to assist with e-filing your cryptocurrency gains and losses. And so TurboTax Premier allows you to import up to 250 to 500 transactions at once from Coinbase. This is kind of cool. And in contrast, TaxAct doesn't provide cryptocurrency support. So this is really, now there are cases where it's better to use an alternative. So if you're a freelancer seeking free software to file an individual return with Schedule C, if you're a small business that needs inexpensive do-it-yourself filing options, or if you're a small business looking for cloud software that can file year-end information return, it's just better to go with another player. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about TurboTax versus TaxAct. So I want to dig a little deeper here in terms of pricing. Okay, so let's compare and contrast TaxAct versus TurboTax on prices. So both TaxAct and TurboTax have a free option for the most basic of federal returns. So if you have any type of deductions, credits, adjustments, or self-employed, you will need one of their higher cost plans. And TaxAct's plan starts at about $25, while TurboTax starts at about $69. So you can see the delta here. So TaxAct actually fell in our research in the middle of our cost ratings, while TurboTax was on the more expensive end. So state fees are an additional cost. They are about $35 to $50 for each state when filed with TaxAct's free version, and $44 to $75 with higher cost plans. And it's one of the and for each state you have $59 to $75 with TurboTax. So when we talk about the pricing here, you need to understand TaxAct and TurboTax, they actually break their plans down the same way. There is a free plan for a basic Form 1040 or Form 1040 Easy. And from there, each company has a deluxe, premier, and self-employed plan, each for a higher cost. And the most popular plan for both companies is the deluxe plan, which is about $25 to $50 for the federal version of TaxAct, and $59 to $75 for TurboTax. And both companies' deluxe version is for families with deductions and credits, such as the child tax credit and homeowners' mortgage interest deductions. The premier plan for both companies is for more complex tax returns for those with investments, rental properties, or those who have recently sold a home. And TaxAct's premier plan is about $35 to $50, while TurboTax is $89 to $100. One major difference, though, between the two is the readiness of TurboTax to help investors record cryptocurrency transactions, okay? And the top-tiered plan for both companies is the self-employed plan. And this plan is for individuals who use their social security number for sole proprietor companies. The Schedule C questionnaire that accounts for income and business expenses is one of the key features for those companies. And so TaxAct's self-employed plan is about $65 to $80, while TurboTax plan is about $120 to $150. And TurboTax is known for helping users find applicable deductions with an easier-to-use guided interface. So this is really, really great. I want to talk to you about TurboTax versus TaxAct. Let's talk about live assistance. Okay. Now when we talk about the communication method with TaxAct, you have the phone, email, and live chat, and with TurboTax you have phone, chat, and one-way video conferencing. What about qualifications of professionals? Well, for TaxAct and TurboTax you have CPAs, you have enrolled agents or tax specialists. So the breadth and depth of talent is already there in both with both tax preparation software programs. And what about Tax Pro assistance for individual returns? Yeah, TaxAct and TurboTax both help you. What about Tax Pro assistance for business returns? TaxAct, you don't have that capability. With TurboTax, you have that capability in about 14 to 20 states. What about a full service filing for individual returns? Only TurboTax has that. So TaxAct doesn't have it. What about full service for business returns? Also, TurboTax has that. TaxAct doesn't have it, okay? So the bottom line here is what? Both offer a very similar way to communicate with their tax experts, with TurboTax providing the additional benefits of one-way video conferencing, which allows you to share your screen. And the qualifications of these professionals include CPAs, EAs, and tax specialists, including tax attorneys. And one thing I want to say here is that TurboTax offers 3 tiers of service: DIY assistance from a live tax pro or full service filing, while TaxAct lacks a full service option. Additionally, TaxAct doesn't provide an assisted option for business tax returns, and the TurboTax assisted option for business tax returns is only available, as I said before, in about 14 to 20 states, okay? And while TaxAct supports Form 990 for tax-exempt organizations, TurboTax does not. So it's one of those things where you have to see what really works for you. What about TaxAct versus TurboTax, the helpful tools? Well, for the deduction maximizer, this is present in both software tools. Same thing for audit support. Same thing for tax calculator. Same thing for data import. For cryptocurrency support, only TurboTax has that. TaxAct doesn't. So this is really important to remember. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about TurboTax versus TaxAct. Let's talk about TaxAct versus TurboTax mobile app. So for the mobile app, you have the TaxAct Express app, and you have the TurboTax app. Those two are available in iOS and Android, not a problem. What about the product supported? Well, for TaxAct Express app, you have the free, the deluxe, the premier, and the self-employed. For the TurboTax app, you only have the basic. And can you talk live with the tax specialist? Yes. Through the app? Yes. In both cases, yes. Can you e-file a return? Yes. In both cases, yes. What about scan and uploading W-2? Yes. Yeah, you can actually do that as well. What about IRS refund tracking? Yes, you can have that as well with both mobile apps. Now, can you view, print, save return as a PDF? You can do that with the TaxAct Express app, but you can't do it as of right now with the TurboTax app. So it's really important to understand that TaxAct and TurboTax offer a mobile app for users of their personal software, but business products aren't supported, and only the free version is supported in TurboTax. And so this is kind of cool. What about TurboTax versus TaxAct customer service and ease of use? Well, when you think about the user interface, with TaxAct, you have a very intuitive user interface. In TurboTax, it's more straightforward. And in terms of support channels, you have a phone, email, and live chat for TaxAct. For TurboTax, you have phone chat and one-way video conferencing, but also with the added option of having professional help. And so expert help is offered. And in terms of additional services, for TaxAct, you have deduction maximizer, audit support, and tax calculator. For TurboTax, you have self-employed expense estimator, and you have check your refund status. So this is kind of cool. And so bottom line here is what? TaxAct is known for its user-friendly interface and straightforward navigation that is structured in an interview format, making it relatively easy for you to prepare and file your tax returns. Your taxes are online, and the software provides step-by-step guidance and prompts, helping you enter your tax information accurately and efficiently. And it has error checking features and deduction maximizers to assist users in optimizing their tax returns. And we also love the fact that with TurboTax, for instance, you have a clean and intuitive interface that was really designed to be user-friendly from the get-go, with easy access to the tools you need. So this is kind of cool. Let's talk about TurboTax versus TaxAct user reviews, okay? And this is an important element. So basically, both TaxAct and TurboTax scored high with users. They receive kudos on all the platforms that we have checked. So you have Trustpilot, you have G2, you have GetApp, you have Consumer Affairs. You also have a BBB, Triple B. So TaxAct users appreciate that the software is easy to set up and use. Reviewers also praised its helpful tools, including the tax calculator and deduction maximizer. So the software's biggest drawback is that the price only includes one tax return, okay? Meanwhile, TurboTax users appreciate that there are tax services available for every tax situation, including full service filing if you would prefer a tax expert to actually prepare and file your return. And reviewers also praised the 100% accuracy and maximum refund guarantees. So one of the solution's drawbacks is that the fee for state return filing is on the steeper side. I mean, when you think about TurboTax, you always have to think about price, okay? It's one of those things where you can't do anything, okay? So when we talk about more affordable pricing, you have to think about TaxAct. Okay, in general, TaxAct offers more affordable pricing options compared to TurboTax, and so TaxAct provides different editions with varying features and price points, including a free edition for simple tax returns. So TurboTax tends to be priced higher overall, especially for more complex tax situations. Okay, and so basically, TurboTax is known for its comprehensive audit support, offering various packages with enhanced audit assistance, including free one-on-one audit guidance year-round. And TaxAct also provides audit support, but the level of assistance may vary depending on the edition and pricing tier. And in terms of, both software programs can actually handle state returns, not a problem. And so you're able to prepare and file state-specific tax forms. However, it's worth noting that both providers charge an additional fee to file the state returns. And what kind of refund options are available for TaxAct and TurboTax? Well, TaxAct and TurboTax each offer a few different ways to receive your tax refund besides the paper check. TaxAct offers direct deposit to your checking or savings account or an American Express Serve card. TurboTax offers the option of getting a direct deposit, applying your refund to next year's taxes, or purchasing U.S. savings bonds. So the possibilities are there. So what is our verdict here? So TaxAct versus TurboTax, which is really best for you? It's really important to understand that when we actually analyze TaxAct versus TurboTax, we actually have discovered that TaxAct is generally less expensive and ideal for small businesses wanting to file taxes online. TurboTax, on the other hand, is optimal for those needing full service tax preparation and filing. So because we actually look at the features, we looked at the pricing structures, the ease of use, the customer support, and helpful tools to actually see which one is really best for your situation, okay? So bottom line is that TurboTax is a great choice if you qualify for free filing on simple tax returns. Not all taxpayers qualify though. If you want to import data from QuickBooks, Square, Lyft, or Uber, TurboTax is great if you have a lot of deductions and plans to itemize. The software is also great if you want one-on-one help from an expert. It could be a CPA, an EA, or a tax attorney, or another tax specialist. What about TaxAct? TaxAct is a great choice if you want a less distracting interface. If you are confident in filing taxes yourself, if you are looking to save money, and if you like knowing that you can consult an expert if needed. So it's one of those things where, both TaxAct and TurboTax will get the job done of preparing your taxes for an e-file or downloaded return done, right? They both check all the boxes of handling the most complex returns and offering help if needed. And both companies back up their services with 100% accuracy and maximum refund guarantee. So it's one of those things where, where they really differ is in cost and simplicity. So, if you're looking for a budget program, TaxAct is a software for you. But if you want to take the frustration out of filing your tax return, then TurboTax has an easier to use software design that its consumers appreciate. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I'll give you a quick compare and contrast between TurboTax and TaxAct. So here's a recap. So I'll give you the overview, the usage, the pricing. We'll look at all the other capabilities and functionalities. And finally, I'll give you the verdict. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Don't forget, always be marvelous. Thank you.